Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Olivier Ponti, VP for Insights at ForwardKeys, and I would like to wish you a warm welcome to this new edition of ForwardKeys and Friends. ForwardKeys and Friends is a webinar series where we place the spotlight on one of our industry partners to discuss the future of the travel industry or the aviation, with an emphasis on the effective use of data. Today, our guest is no other than Sergio Guerreiro from Turismo de Portugal. Sergio is Senior Director for Knowledge Management and Innovation, and he is responsible for business intelligence, sustainability, statistics, entrepreneurship, and innovation. He's also the chairman of the OECD Tourism Committee and the chairman of the European Travel Commission's Market Intelligence Group. Sergio, it is a real honor to have someone of your caliber with us today. A warm welcome to you. Could you please switch your camera on?
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting us to present today and to be discussing with you the role of data in our lives as tourism industry today.
Thank you, Sergio. What we are going to be discussing today, indeed, it's the power of business intelligence. You'll present us the business intelligence system that you have put in place in Portugal. You'll also explain how this is helping you and your partners solve problems in the current situation created by the COVID crisis. And we'll also discuss the future, what is needed for such a system to keep growing and for business intelligence to take root within the tourism sector. Before we start with the actual presentation, just two housekeeping remarks. The recording and the presentation will be sent to you by email at the end of this session, and we will have a bit of time after Sergio's presentation for a Q&A session. If you would like to ask some questions, please use the question button, which is in the menu on the right-hand side of your screen. Now, I keep this introduction short so that we have time for you, Sergio. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Olivier. Sorry. Okay, I'm having trouble in fixing the agenda. Well, as I said, thank you, Olivier. Thank you to my friends from ForwardKeys for inviting us to participate in this session. I'll try to use the next 15 minutes to give you an overview of the work that we've been doing in terms of business intelligence and how actually the current crisis changed a little bit. I would say the focus and the speed. I would say speed is the word here that our team had to deal with to navigate uncharted waters. That's the topic of our agenda, because I think we as an industry are living something that we've never believed. Not even the worst case scenario that we've been put on the table is similar to what we're living here. A little bit about Turismo Portugal. Turismo Portugal, it's not a traditional DMO, because we basically mix in one company the National Tourism Administration and the National Tourism Board. So integrate in one sole company areas like product development, like supporting investment, like promotion and marketing of Portugal as a destination. We also run an area of education and training with 12 hotel schools all around the country, and also we are gambling regulators. Transversal to all these pillars of the work of Turismo Portugal has two areas which I'm responsible for: knowledge management and innovation. And actually we put them together because they are interconnected in terms of the outputs they produce. The mission of the area that I'm responsible for, it's the traditional mission of any research area. It's providing the right data at the right time to the right people so they can make the right decisions. And I think this sentence it's a clear mission, but I would say all words after right are changing. And first of all, the right data, the amount and sources of data that we have available today as an industry changed dramatically in recent years. The time has also become smaller and smaller. So it is a change in terms of the delivery time of the data that we have available. When we talk about the right people, we work both for our company and for the decision-making process in terms of marketing and investment that we have to take in our own company, but also, and I would say specifically also to all the tourism stakeholders from Portugal tourism industry that need to take the right decisions. And that's the only thing that didn't change is managers have to take decisions in their daily life. The story that I'm going to talk about is a long journey. It's not an easy process, and I would say two things that I would like to highlight here. The first one is learning. The second one is team. Learning, why? Because data sources and the way that we look at data and the outputs that we take out of data change constantly. So we have to learn and keep learning about new trends and new sources of data and new algorithms that we have to deal with. Team, because this is a team effort. And the team also needs to adapt to the speed and to the level of processing that we have to deal with. So we've started this process in 2015, and by 2015 we used, I would say, the traditional statistics that any DMO uses. So it's national statistic offices, the central bank, the airports data, and we also had the data from our international organizations that are very focused in tourism, UNWTO, OECD, and ETC. We've started in 2016 a process that I would qualify as buying data, analyzing data, trying to get insights out of data, and progressing and adding them to the system. So we've done that with the few sources of data in 2016, but most of them were descriptive and qualitative. We've enlarged partnerships in 2017 and 2018, going a little bit what I would call big data, because we've done in 2017 data from reviews from hotels. We've moved in 2018 to data from mobile data. We've tested, basically we've tested the viability of using data like that. We also moved into one trend that was critical by that time, which was data from short-term rentals, and we moved into aviation. And Portugal is one of the most competitive destinations in the world, and 90% of our tourists come from air. So having a tool that could help us to understand a little bit more the aviation market was critical. In 2019, we moved to credit card and debit card data, and also to data on the performance of companies. In 2020, we have partnered also. We are now working on daily basis with mobile data. We also have a partnership with Google for insights on the travel and tourism sector. So this was a long journey of learning from our team, and also to choose what we want, what we need to focus as a research body. From the beginning, the idea was the data is not only for domestic internal decision-making process in Turismo de Portugal, but specifically making it available for the sector, making more data and better data available for the sector to have all the information. We call it an information hub. And Travel BI is our data platform. It's currently available. It's more rich in Portuguese, I'm sorry, but we also have an English version. You're more than welcome to navigate and to give us also feedback on that. But meanwhile, in the beginning of 2020, everything changed. We moved in, I would say, in 1 month, we've known a new friend. And COVID virus, basically in 30 days moved from a very Asian concentrated process to a process that changed the life of every industry and had an impact, I would say dramatic impact in the tourism industry, and changed also, I would say, the role of our organization, also the role and the level of delivery that we as a research body had to deal with. And I would say what changed, I hear frequently the expression of the new normal. I don't believe in a new normal. I believe until we get to the new normal, we will have several next normals, which is for ourselves as researchers a challenge, because we don't have any references to define the future. So we have to define the future day by day. We had recently a conference with some of our leaders of hospitality in the country, and they expressed that management today is daily, because things change from one week to the other in a very dramatic way. In another sense, what we feel as a research body is the change and the speed of new data needs that we have from all sorts. It's not only the tourism industry that is reaching us, all the other ministries is reaching us with requests of data that we have to deliver in a very short time. And the third topic that I would like to mention is we are moving from having data with 2 months in delay to having data from today or from yesterday, and to have some clues about the future. And so moving a little bit into forecasting, it's mandatory to navigate in this process right now. And one movement, and I believe we are in the third level of third stage of data. We were in the beginning boring people that were dealing with statistics models, so we were boring people. We moved to sexy to sexy industry when we moved to the visualization of data and all those dashboards, beautiful dashboards. I believe we are now in the third stage, and the third stage is data is needed to take every decision that we make as an industry to define our future. And relevance, and understanding the relevance of our departments and the role of a DMO in this process is clear. We feel it every day. The data requests that we get every day and makes us understand also as a research body that data is critical for every stakeholder within the industry. What we've done with COVID crisis, we've changed dramatically our level of production. We've created a dedicated web page to share research from ourselves, research from partners, articles that are interesting to the industry, because what we've also felt is tremendous load of data and news all around the table. So what we've done daily market updates with our offices abroad, everyone around the world. So a daily update on the market performance. We started using mobile data to understand the fluxes of process, and we used bank cards data, airlines data, and it was a huge success. We ended 2019 with more than 330,000 page views on our platform, and in the first 6 months, I would say 7 months, we've grew 85% in terms of the page views in our platform. So in terms of we use mobile data to understand flows within the regions and also mobility of tourists within the country. As we have few tourists, this is not a critical data yet, but in the future will be critical to understand how tourists behave and if there are changes in terms of the patterns of the tourists around the country. We also trying to understand when using credit and debit card data, we're trying to understand how is behaving the spending by each one of the markets in each one of the municipalities within the country, giving information and specific data for decision makings at local level, and also understanding consumption partners. And I think a lot has been written on changes of behavior because of COVID crisis. We also understand that from data, and we hope to follow that after the crisis to understand how tourists within in the future will behave in this area. And going to ForwardKeys data, so airlines data, we have a partnership with ForwardKeys, I think three years ago. And we use it to, well, it's a very enriching data that we use to, first of all, understanding market trends and market behavior in terms of booking. And we use it specifically to support our air connectivity strategy, that for a country in that depends on air flights is absolutely critical. So we monitor every day the level of bookings and arrivals within the country for each one of our key markets. We also look in terms of variation of the tickets in the short term. I would say 3 months. It's well, I would say 15 days is now the rule, but we also give an outlook for the next 3 months to understand when the market and specifically where the market is showing opportunities, so we can have also an understanding and give clues to our colleagues from the marketing area to understand where should they put the money and when should they bet. And here also we understand how are we regarding the performance that we had last year. We also do it some competitive intelligence to understand how we are performing regarding our competition. We also, and this is a new feature from our last contract, we're also looking at searches at Skyscanner, so to understand how the market behavior, how tourists are searching for each one of the airports from our main markets. And this, I would say, very important to our internal strategy of doing advertising and doing promotion. And I would like to finishing my presentation and with a couple of notes. First of all, and we didn't do this in the beginning, we need to define a strategy and identify clearly what are the data needs that we have. So ask the right questions and get the data for the right questions. Because with the amount of data available, it's easy. We can easily go lose our focus and our delivery. A topic on return on investment, and thank God my boss is not hearing this, because for several times he asked me, why do you want data? Now I think he's convinced, and he's one of my biggest clients, by the way, because we have to show up also the role and what we want the data for, and what are the outputs that data can give and the utility of data. The next step is not enough to have a beautiful dashboard showing up. You need to translate data into insights. Most of the people in the front line, they don't have time to analyze the data, so we have to establish and create mechanisms of partnering and showing and trying to understand what they can do with data. And for that, communicate is absolutely critical. Communicate internally, communicate externally to show up what we can do, and also to fit our product to the needs of the consumer. Hear the consumer as always. Hear the consumer and hear their needs, and adjust your product accordingly. Finally, this would not be possible without your team, and your team has to be engaged, has to be training, because we're dealing with new quality, new sources of data with completely different insights, and also empowerment. Now, most of the products are not a request from the boss. They are something that when they look at the platform, when they look at data, they are empowered to design solutions that respond to data needs. And this is also my last slide, which is, it's all about team. Team is critical in moving. Is not technology, is not data. Your team and the use that they do about the data that's available is critical for the success of what we do as a research body. Well, thank you very much. I'm more than glad to give you my contacts for any query that you might have, and also the link for our platform so you can explore and hopefully enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sergio, for this enlightening presentation. Well, we're giving the audience a few minutes to start thinking about questions that they would like to ask. I'd like to remind our participants today that Turismo de Portugal uses a number of key data sets from ForwardKeys: actual air tickets, seat capacity, flight search, total air market, as well as the ForwardKeys API. So if you have any question regarding these data sets, please do not hesitate to reach out to us at webinars at forwardkeys.com. So now it's time for our Q&A session. I'd like to kick off with a question. I really liked your description of the 3 stages of business intelligence, from being boring to being sexy to being absolutely necessary, and the need to look into the future, which is a pressing need at the moment in this ever-changing environment. My question to you, Sergio, is whether you think that the current situation is actually changing the way people work, the way DMOs work, and if you think that this is the beginning of a new era for tactical marketing.
Yeah, well, absolutely. First of all, picking on your first point, I believe, in other words, we moved from being descriptive, we're trying to be predictive, and we will need to be prescriptive. I think that's the road that we have ahead, and I'm a true believer that all this effort that we've been doing is a changing area, because most of these sources of data, and as we are providing these sources of data to the sector, we are feeling from the sector that they are needed, and they will build up their intelligence decision-making process based on our current data. So that's no way back to say COVID is out, let's go back to the old life. No, beginning business as usual will not come back. I believe, in at least in this point of view. And also, what we've understand from this crisis is short term is now ruling out strategy a little bit, because there is no time for strategy, because there is no time for designing long-term strategies. I think we need to have, and I believe we have in Portugal, a very clear strategy where we want to be, but tactics have to be changed, I would say, in a daily basis, because the market is changing every day. If tomorrow we have hopefully some news that a new vaccine is ready for in the market, that will change completely the way that we see it as an industry, and a new set of policies, a new set of decisions from operators within the field have to be taken. So I think that I would say it's adaptive strategy that we have to put in place for the future. So data would have to feed that in a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. We've seen how Turismo de Portugal is using this information. We have a question from the audience about how others, so outside of your organization, are using this intelligence. And there's a question more particularly about how you cooperate with different districts and regions in Portugal. Do you share data with them? Does it help them to make decisions?
Well, I would say two lines of work. One, as I said, most I would say the large part of our production is public, so it's publicly and freely available in our platform. And what we are seeing from that is companies from all ranges, from hotels, from revenue managers, and so on, are requesting us to integrate our data with their systems. So basically using our data as feeding their own decision-making systems within their houses, which is for ourselves also good, because also have feedback from the industry of what are the needs, and we can adjust our production. Regarding destinations, what we have, and we have here in Portugal, I'll say since 2008, 2009, at least from our first economic crisis, we have few cooperation platforms with our regions. And what we did, and specifically we did it several times with all our regions during the COVID crisis, is to understand specifically air connectivity. And we are discussing and analyzing each one of the routes to understanding the load factors of each one of the routes, where there is an opportunity, where there is a problem, where something is not moving in the right direction. So we have for that very close forums where we discuss with them. And the things is not presenting data, is discussing data for taking decisions in a operational level.
Okay, we've got a number of questions regarding the financial aspects. Can you confirm that the information is provided free of charge? And second question is there any business model behind? And third question linked to this is whether the switch to the era of big data is only for those organizations that have very deep pockets.
Okay. Well, first of all, yes, in terms of the platform, at least for now, it's totally free. And I would say it will be. It's our role. We are a public institution financed by taxes. So it's our role also to curate data and deliver them to our industry. I think there is no reason that we cannot do it. Regarding the business model, what we have is, well, we run a budget and we try to maximize the utility of the budget that we have for helping our companies with this investment that we do in data. We are helping our destinations and our companies to perform better, to have more revenues, and to have more guarantee more jobs. So I think we are in the right pace. Regarding big data, what I've learned from all this process also is everything is about team, and sometimes team is not within your company. And I believe universities can be extraordinary partners. That's why we've moved into big data for the first time. We moved with an university. So students helped us to deal with large volumes of data and getting interesting insights out of it. So perhaps there is also a role to get out of our offices and work on a regular basis, for example, with universities and also with other tech partners that we have to do. I think this is not big data will be the future. IoT will come to destinations in a very short while, and the level of upgrade that we can give to management if we deal well with big data will certainly pay off in terms of a return on quality of life that we can provide, on efficiency of management that we do as a company, right? So I think it's all about having the right questions to what you do, and if those questions help you to save money or get more money from your clients, I think it pays off.
So basically what you're saying is that there is a cost to not being able to make the right decisions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. We're getting close to the end of this webinar. We still have plenty of questions. I'd like to finish with one, which is about the value of data. How do you assess the value of a particular data stream? How do you tell in the jungle of big data, good data from bad data, basically?
Well, to be 100% honest, and I believe that's the role that I'm also here, two ways. For mobile data, for example, we did a work with a university to test the viability and the usability of data to understand what if it was viable to work with it and what were the outputs of it. So we had time to test it. Sometimes, and I believe that's something that Sometimes it's not easy. We should have the opportunity of, when dealing with the data providers, to have the opportunity of testing what we're buying. I believe that's also a process that that is needed, because sometimes you buy the access to a platform which tons of amounts of data, and you need some time to adjust your production to your team to understand what's data it's available. And our policy in the office is having very, I would say, close partnerships with data providers, and ForwardKeys is one key example of a partnership that we've been doing, that we have needs, we have questions, we have adjustments that we need to make, and our provider replies and helps us to succeed. One example of this is within the first contract that we had, we used the data from the platform. For the second part of the contract, the second contract we did, we said we need an API, because we are now able to optimize, make it automatic, a lot of tasks, so saving time from our side, saving time for our people to look at data instead of making dashboards, right? So that I think having a good relationship, and I'm fortunate to have a very good relationship with all data partners that we have, is critical to grow, I believe.
Thank you very much, Sergio. This will be the word of the end. It's been great having you on this virtual stage today, sharing insights and the result of your experience. There's still plenty of questions from the audience. They have your contact details if they would like to get some more precisions. Thank you once more for joining us. Thank you to the participants, all the participants to this webinar, for being with us today. I would like to wish you all good luck with the current situation, which is challenging for everybody. And I am very much looking forward to seeing you in the next edition of ForwardKeys and Friends. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.